Alright, today we're going to be talking about the formulas for perimeter and area of rectangles and triangles. It's important that you know what formula is. It's just an equation that you use that has different quantities in it to help you find other quantities. The formula they give for rectangle is this. P equals 2L plus 2W. Okay? Now you've been told perimeter of a rectangle, you just add up all the sides. Well, now you need to know the formula for it. Because before, all they'd ever ask you was, what's the perimeter? And they told you the side. Now they're going to ask you, what is the width of this rectangle if you know the perimeter or area? What is the length of that triangle or the rectangle? They're going to do that type of stuff. So today we're going to be solving for different variables, moving stuff around. It's nothing we haven't done. Okay? But this is the formula they give for a rectangle. It's 2L plus 2W. 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Here's the formula for perimeter of a triangle. It sounds real simple. You just add up all the sides. Right? But later they'll tell you 2 of the sides and say find the other one. So you need to know the formula. And it's A plus B plus C. Any questions?
What about for small rectangle, you're timing?
For a rectangle, you times the length by 2 and you times the width by 2 because there's 2 lengths and 2 widths. On triangle, there's 1A, there's 1B, and 1C. So you just add those up. So they might give you this. So draw a triangle, simple triangle, don't make it big, and put the numbers on there, and we're going to find the perimeter of this triangle. Alright, here they gave us all the sides, A, B, and C. So we just add those up. 12.8 plus 28.5 plus 17. Just add those up. Okay, 8 plus 5 is 13. 1 and 7 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 8 is 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you leave the decimal where it's supposed to be. So my answer is 58.3. You are required to write the unit. Let me say it again. You're required to write the unit. What is the unit of this? Centimeters.
If you don't write the unit, we get it wrong.
It is wrong. Okay? Units are very important. You should know units from now on, so you have to show them. Any questions? Alright, this is what I want you to do. I want you to write, find the length of the rectangle. Underneath that, I want you to write P equals 42 feet and W equals 10 feet. Always write the formula that they give you first. I don't care how many times you wrote it, always write it. I will be looking for it tomorrow. What's the formula for perimeter of a rectangle? 2L plus 2W. The reason I have you write it down is so you won't get confused when you start plugging in numbers and you know exactly where they're supposed to go. The perimeter is 42. The length is what I'm looking for, so I leave L. But I do know W, it is 10. So you have to write out this step. Show your work. Now we can work it out. 2 times 10 is 20. So you have 2L plus 20 is equal to 42. Have we done these type of problems before? Yes, solving for a variable. We look at what's being done to L. We're timesing it by 2 and then adding 20. So the first thing we do is subtract 20. 22 equals 2L. I divide by 2. To undo multiplication, I divide. L, my length, is equal to 11 feet. Can I check my answer? Yes, plug 11 in for L and 10 in for W. 2 times 11 is 22. 2 times 10 is 20. 22 plus 20 is 42. So L must equal 11. Alright, this right here is the formula for area of a rectangle. You should already know it is length times width. And then area of a triangle, they say it's 1/2 the base times the height. Right? The other way of writing it, you could write it as base times height divided by 2. Some people get confused because they don't realize that timesing by half is the same thing as dividing by 2. I can prove it to you. What's a half of 2? What's 2 divided by 2? 1. So they're exact same thing, but I write them both out so you see. Okay? It depends on the situation. If you have fractions, use a half. If you have decimals, use divide by 2. What you also need to know about area of a triangle is that the height is not always inside the triangle. Sometimes it's outside. Like the triangle we drew a couple minutes ago, the height would actually be all the way to the right. It'd be outside. All that matters is that the height has a right angle, which is what that little rectangle is for. Has a right angle relative to the base. So the base and the height are relative to each other, and you can figure out where they are based on the right angle. Any questions? Write this down. Here they are asking for the area of a triangle. Okay, now like I said, you have to write the formula. I don't care how many times you have to write it out. Now they use a little symbol, a little triangle symbol, so for area. So this is the area of a triangle. What is the area of a triangle?
Base times height divided by 2.
Base times height divided by 2, or 1/2 base times height. I'm going to use 1/2 base times height because I'm using fractions. Now, what you do is you plug in what you know and find what you don't. We're wanting area, so we're going to plug in the base and the height. 1/2 the base, so 12 over 1. We're also going to times it by the height, but what do you know about fractions? What do you have to do to mix numbers when you're timesing them? You have to make them improper fractions. So 5 times 4 plus 1 is 21 over 4. You multiply those. As you can see, there is something you can reduce. The 4 and 12, right? Take 4 out of 4 and get 1. 4 out of 12 and get 3. 3 times 21 is 63. 63 over 2. You would use division to figure out what that is. 63 divided by 2, 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 goes into 3 1 time with 1 left over. Now we're finding area. What you have to know about area is you're taking inches times inches. So the unit for area is inches squared. So my answer is 31.5 inches squared. You leave off the squared, it is wrong. Inches is a linear unit, meaning it's a straight line. Area, okay, is not linear, okay? It's hard to describe it without saying the word area. Right? It's one length with another length. It's a box. It's like a rectangle. It's all that's inside that rectangle. So what you do is you take inches times inches and you get inches squared. Everybody understand? Now, do we do that for perimeter?
No.
No, because it is linear. You could straighten it out in a straight line, right? Okay, so that would be inches. But when you're finding a square unit, that's area, because you're taking one unit times another. Inches times inches gives you inches squared. Yes, Jesse?
You could make any shape in a straight line, right?
Okay, what they're going to do is they're going to give you formulas. They're going to give you just a bunch of variables that are timesing or adding or whatever, and you have to solve for it. Now, if you had a problem like this, and I said solve for x, what does that mean?
Figure out what x is.
Figure out what x is. What's our goal? What do I always say our goal is when we're solving for a variable?
Figure out what x is.
To find out what the
Figure out the variable.
Getting it by itself, right? I would divide by 2 to leave x on this side, wouldn't I? Okay, that's always my goal. So if it said solve for x on this, what's my goal?
to
X by itself. What's being done to X at this moment?
That's being times.
Times by Y. So how do you undo timesing by Y? You divide by Y. Y's cancel on the left. So X equals Z divided by Y. Okay. Now here we have X minus B equals A. What's being done to X?
Minusing by.
We're subtracting B from it. Okay. We don't know how much it is, so that's why it's left like that. Okay. We can't combine those because they're unlike terms. How do we get X by itself? We do the opposite of subtracting B, which is adding B. X equals A plus B. There's my answer. Easy enough, right? That's exactly what we've done before. When we had perimeter, okay, of a rectangle and we didn't know what length was. Did we solve for W or L? Yes. We moved things around until we got L by itself. That's exactly what you're doing with this. Getting a variable by itself. Could I have solved for Y? What would I have done?
Divide it by X.
Divided by X. Could I have solved for B? What would I have done? Subtracted X. Because it's positive, I would subtract X to both sides.
So then it'd be...
It would have been negative B equals A plus X. Then we'd have to change the sign of B. But we haven't talked about how to do that. Any questions? Write this down. We're going to find the area of a rectangle. Except we already know what the area is. So we got to find the width. It says this area of a rectangle is 800. The length is 120. We got to find a width. Always write the formula first. I don't care how many times you have to write it. The formula for area of a rectangle. Does anyone know?
Oh, yeah. I think that
Length times width.
Oh, wait, no.
So what we do is we plug in what we know. 800 is equal to 120 W. How do I get W by itself? Divide by 120. What I do to one side, I do the other. I can take 10 out of both of those and get 80 over 12. Then I solve for it. 12 goes into 80 6 times. With 8 left over, so it's 8 over 12. Which does 8 over 12 reduce?
Yep.
Okay, I can take 4 out of each of those and get 2/3. So my answer is 6 2/3. And what's my unit? Inches, not inches squared. And let me show you why. To find area, we take inches times inches and get inches squared, right? Okay, we already have it. Look at what we've done. 800 is inches squared. My 120 is inches. Inches squared, okay, let me rewrite that, is inches times inches over inches. If we divide, when we cancel one of those out, what unit do we have left? Inches. That's why it's 6 2/3 inches. Any questions? So width, length, base, height, all that is in a linear unit. Area or perimeter is also a linear unit. Area is the only one where it's a two-dimensional unit. It has inches by inches or feet times feet. Here's your assignment.